This episode is brought to you by Trailer Park Yard Games, where over 28 games are delivered directly to your party. We park the trailer, you party.
2011, when you said cornhole out loud, like, you got strange looks. And, we were trying to push it through, all kinds of avenues, advertising. And, a friend of mine at the church, I was like, hey, can you help us? Can you? And he's like, JD, I can't say cornhole from the stage.
I can't imagine a more beautiful thing. It's cool.
So, it's just that's the kind of growth that we've had to overcome, initially. But
let's have a chat, talk this and that with PB and Jaisy.
Hello. It is the PB and Jaisy show. To my right, I have...
Hi, I'm Jaisy George.
Yep, she's the same old Jaisy we have every week, but she gets more beautiful every week, I think.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Well, you look the same.
I agree with that.
And then there's Bill.
Yeah, and then there's Bill Stedham. I'm just the old fat guy.
I think you get more handsome every week.
Do I?
That helps you, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm being really sweet today. Okay, so today we have a very fun topic. Growing up, we played washers a lot. Recently, we started a washer tournament. We do an annual washer tournament, pre-COVID, of course. But we'd have friends and family come, and it's just a good time to be outside. And it's it's not a super athletic activity, so most people can play. But I had heard, this has probably been, maybe 5 years or more, I heard somebody talking about this game called Cornhole. And I was like, that sounds really dirty. But what is it? I'm in. Yeah, I'm in. What is it? So today we have the master of ceremonies of all Cornhole. And JD, I'll let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure, I can do that. I'm JD Thompson. I'm the Senior Director of Caring for Community, a local nonprofit here based out of Mansfield. But we also are known as Cornhole for Community. Sometimes the C4C gets misinterpreted. Yeah. Not necessarily a miss, but because it is what we do. We say caring for community is who we are. Cornhole for Community is what we do. Oh. And with that, we've been since 2011. We've been running events. We've been hosting weekly league nights, helping other people do fundraising through the game of cornhole. Really just as an opportunity to be impactful in our community. That's the real goal, and then cornhole is just kind of the tool. It's also allowed me to make a lot of good friends, meet a lot of cool people. We've got a great group of folks that play with us. It grows all the time,
You really have built something amazing, because Michael and I have played in the Cornhole League before, and it just everybody walks in, how are you, how you doing? Everybody kind of knows what people do for a living, and it's just it's like a little family environment, and it's all really good people. We've never had a run-in with anybody that's, a jerk for some.
Until Tom and I.
Only happy people play cornhole. No, they don't stay happy if they're not doing well. But so for anybody that doesn't know, tell us what cornhole is.
Yeah, so, it depends who you talk to. The origins come from, southwestern Ohio. There's some groups down in South Carolina that will claim cornhole. Essentially you've got, you'll see it at a tailgate game. It's very portable. Typically, a 4x2 board with a hole in it, right? Simple. A 6x6 bag filled with something, originally corn. You play against, it's a competitive game. You throw in against a person. You can play in singles. You can play in doubles. We usually end our league nights by playing some 8-man, which means basically anybody that's still in the room, we get them into one game, and everybody just kind of throws one bag, just a way to keep having fun. It's grown, like I said, from even for us. When we started playing, we came to Texas, and it was me and my friend, his brother, and his brother's friend, right? And we were the only 4 people in all of Texas that I knew were playing the game. I'm from Ohio. Okay. Grew up in Ohio. Started playing up there. Again, even up there, it wasn't nearly as organized. The way that it's grown in the last 5 years in the organization, I'm a regional director also for Texas Cornhole League, which is kind of the overarching established organization of cornhole. Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, New Mexico, all kind of within Texas Cornhole League. And I watch them organize. I've seen, now ACL, right? Those are the folks that you see on TV. I mean, that's organized. I mean, if you're playing on ESPN, you're organized, right?
That makes it a sport for sure.
Yeah, right, definitely.
Tom was really excited to say, like, yeah, they're on ESPN. I'm like, yeah, that makes you legit.
Yeah, some of those guys, there's been a handful of those folks that have participated with us. Grant Upchurch is a local guy who has won a national on ESPN, plays in a couple of our tournaments a year, is a big CCL guy. There's a handful of them out there. I mean, so it is kind of fun to, I've played one-on-one against those guys. You see them on ESPN, you see them winning on ESPN. You think, no, never mind.
I beat him. I could totally beat him. Why am I not there?
You say that in your mind once, and then the next time you show up, you never quite know exactly what's going to come out.
Yeah. How did you start with C4C? How did that come about?
Yeah, again, just 4 guys in my driveway, right, playing, and then kind of a need popped up. We found a family that was there was some transition in the family. A great aunt was bringing in these 3 little girls, and we were like, oh man, how can we help them? Her house wasn't prepared for it, her family wasn't prepared for it, but she was serving her family by bringing these little girls in, and so we wanted to serve her. And so as we're thinking about we could just help go get donations or whatever, and this idea of a cornhole tournament popped up, and so we were gung-ho, and the original founder with me, we were like, all right, we started getting organized. We built 6 sets of boards, finished them the night before the tournament, which wasn't a great idea. I bought a sewing machine, taught myself to sew. I made just enough bags to support that tournament. We prepared for 100 teams, right? Because that's what you do. So I ordered about 220 T-shirts for this event, and we had 17 teams. And even that came from the night before the tournament. I was like, we need more teams. So Matt and I were going to play together, and I said we got to split up because we'll find more teams that way. And so. It's still miraculous that through all of that, we didn't know how to do fundraising. We didn't know all we knew is we wanted to help, and this was something that we thought would be fun. And like you said earlier today, I mean, dirty, right? Like 2011, when you said cornhole out loud, like you got strange looks, and we were trying to push it through all kinds of avenues, advertising, and a friend of mine at the church, I was like, hey, can you help us? Can you? And he's like JD, I can't say cornhole from the stage. I'm like, so I mean, it's just that's the kind of growth that we've had to overcome, initially, but nowadays it's not a big thing. And I mean, we went from 17 people our very first tournament. We typically try to run one big one a year where C4C will pick a beneficiary, and our model is, throughout the year we run tournaments for other people, and then at the end of the year we do a big blowout tournament, and we basically empty our bank account and give it away. We've been doing that since 2011. Wow. Last year's event we were able to give away about $19,000 to a local just a therapy ranch down in Midlothian.
Michael and I went to that tournament. That was really cool. That was a really cool tournament.
It's just a different feel when, you guys have played with us, in the confines of BLD, just with our regular crowd. But then when we get to go out and we get to really, we don't do those tournaments, at BLD. Or we take those tournaments on the road to really bring awareness to who we're supporting, what we're doing. I mean, we've done them in parking lots. We did them, I'm actually wearing a Help PB. This is the second tournament that we ever did. This was a apartment complex here in Mansfield, kind of low income. I mean, we drove through it, and we just saw like there's kids everywhere. There's no playground. There was one rusty swing, and I still have that's the picture in my mind. And so
tennis waiting to happen.
no doubt. And so we were able to go out there and just with the funds that we were able to do on a single tournament, we bought all the playground material, and then a group of guys, just our guys, just jumped in and we built them a playground.
Awesome.
Like we put it together. We did. It was crazy, and I haven't been back there in a while, but 3 years ago it was still standing, and and nobody's
no interest.
It hasn't fallen on anybody.
Maybe there was a couple engineers involved in that.
Yes.
I have a question. I'm on the board of directors for Easter Seals in North Texas, and we're constantly raising money for people that to help them live independent lives worth living. So we could actually maybe contact you guys and put on a tournament and have you come to some place, and
that's
we
exactly
wouldn't have a clue how to do that.
That's exactly the kind of the mission of C4C. We've got there's kind of three ways that we operate. We run league night, and this traces back to those 17 teams, right? We realized if we're going to do this in the future, like we need people playing. We can't have people scared to play cornhole. We can't have and so that's why league night. League night didn't start because I wanted to hang out with my buddies. League night started because we needed people playing. If we were going to do this and grow it, we needed people playing on a regular basis. The very first league night that we did was in a pool company's warehouse. 4 sets of boards, 16 players, 8 teams, and we've grown. The biggest league we've ever had, we ran 62 teams a couple seasons ago. We're typically at about 50 to 60 teams, every Tuesday night that we play during the season of league. Broken down by all divisions and skill levels, right? I mean, I obviously
I don't have to play JD when I go because I would give up.
Yeah,
he knows that.
we do. From the very basics. People coming out that have never played before. There's a spot for you to play.
So if I showed up with my washers, you'd be able to show me how to play.
Yeah, we'd put stuff those in a bag and let you throw that however you wanted to do.
Perfect.
All the way till our top divisions are folks that if you're not throwing 3 in the hole, you're not scoring any points. I mean, it's the dark, but it gives everybody a chance, and our goal is to make sure that those folks there have a place. Whether it's a place to compete if they want to compete, or a place to just have fun if they want to have fun. So all of that come together as part of our league night and stuff like that.
Wow. Has this grown to where this is your full-time thing? Because I've heard you're a rocket scientist. So how does a rocket scientist get into cornhole? Like what make this make sense to me?
Yeah, so they're completely independent. Although with the way that the game is changing, and there's a local bag manufacturer guy. He's a scientist. He's a patent engineer. He's a patent attorney. He is more thorough in process, and like he takes like stuff that I see at my job as part of a program manager at Lockheed Martin. I see process, I see all this stuff, and then I see this guy taking kind of those exact principles to how we would make a missile system. He's making cornhole bags.
Yeah.
He's identifying the density of the fill and the fibers of the material and which way you want to put those bags together.
But I think that's why JD's so good. Like when he sees the board, I think he's seeing like angles.
Oh
and,
yeah, it's like a
algebra.
Math
he sees algebra.
The whole thing.
Yeah, I see a hole that I can't hit.
Is it like 2 different people? Like you're at work and you've got glasses, and you go to play cornhole and you take them off and turn your hat around.
That's an interesting observation. I don't necessarily feel it, but I do. I've invited some of my coworkers to come out and play with us.
What do you do with all the pocket protectors?
They instead of holding pens, the pockets are holding beers usually. I've invited them to come out, and they say, hey, you're a different person. Like, and 100%, it's confidence. It's like when I'm running those tournaments, like I know exactly how I need to make it efficient, how I need to, engage the people, how we, because there's always constraints, right? There's time, there's, everything, and we're trying to keep people happy.
That's impossible.
But on those days, like, I feel like I'm in as much control as I can be, and then on my day job, it's just my day job. It's just there's a little difference in that.
You can send your element in either one.
I think so. Yeah. I find my place, right? Yeah. And both require me to be a different role.
Yeah. So tell us how the technology has changed, because I know when you started, were y'all just using like the slide, whatever they're called, the scorekeepers.
Right. You're talking about tournament structure, 2016. Right, before that we were paper brackets, just like if you were to go somewhere and you'd print this huge bracket and you'd have to write all the names in and do that, and we had a microphone and we'd call every game, and you have to people would play and they'd come and they'd report their score, right. And and so every board had to have scoreboards, so that everybody do it, and then they come and they do it. In about 2015, we started using, there was an app that just would run the bracket for us. And so that was fun because, it was kind of interactive. As long as you had the link, you could go and you could kind of see where you were in the bracket, and that helped advance a little bit. It helped us running tournaments, but it still was calling every game and handling everything. And it, for our events where you've got, 30 to 50 teams, it's manageable. I would run the Texas Cornhole League Signature Series events where they'd have 300 teams and 9 different brackets going at the same time. And I'm at a table with iPads all in front of me trying to manage all of that.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, Signature Series weekends for me, I stopped playing because I couldn't do both.
Yeah.
And it's 11 hours Friday, 11 hours Saturday, sitting at a table, I couldn't talk by Saturday night, and, we managed through it. About 3 years ago, this software application company out in California developed this app called Scoreholio. And it's
you made Tom giggle.
it's a 100% game changer, for us, but it's adaptable to anything. I've got guys, at all over that are running, my family back home are running, a basketball tournament on Scoreholio. I mean, just because it makes it so breezy, but the part about, it's all interactive. So we've now invested, instead of fancy scoreboards and, moving pins, we've invested in tablets. And so, at every board, there's a tablet, and, and so the players are just keeping their score there. The score gets, I have one dashboard in front of me now that has every board, the score of every board, who's on those boards.
Oh, and I bet you hate that. Don't you hate spreadsheets?
Yeah, I mean, this is, no.
So the technology is really cool. So you'll be sitting, when we go play, you'll be sitting in your phone or watch whatever will go off, say you're on court, whatever. You want a cigarette?
Yeah.
It'll go off, say you go to this court, whatever. You punch your score, and as you go, and then when you're done, it reports it all, and then it tells you where to go. But then the competitive part, it tells you you've got a couple different scores based on your, how many go in, how many you've thrown, how many go off the board, whatever. What is it? PPR, and what's the other one?
Yeah, that's the next level, right? It developed from just keeping score to now every bag that you throw, we track. It's called Score Magic. It's just another feature. And so I know I could look up Sarah's profile right now.
Don't do that.
And I could tell you her PPR, her points per round, right? So there's a maximum of 12. If you throw all 4 in, you get a 12. If you throw 2 in and 2 on, you would get an 8. And so, you track points per round. You can track DPR, so that's your differential per round. So that means, Sarah against whoever she was playing that particular game, her DPR, anything positive is good, right? That means that you're scoring more points than your opponent. Anything that negative means that you're giving up more points than your opponent.
Can y'all tell he loves the numbers?
So I honestly thought, from looking at cornhole, and I've only seen it at parties and things like that you'd grab a beer and a couple bags, and you would. This is a whole lot more.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
So I'm going to grab a beer, and you're going to have a computer telling me exactly what I'm doing.
It's going to tell me exactly what you're doing. You're just going to keep throwing, and you just play the game like normal. But what it allows us to do is, we talked about our league night and how we separate divisions, right? Now we have real data. I run my league different than all the. There's a lot of good, directors that are running cornhole leagues around the area. I run mine completely different, completely focused on our players specifically. So I don't use terms like social division and competitive division and advanced division and open division, because those mean things in terms of like the cornhole circles. So we use terms like basic, limited, practical, and applied, because for me, it gives me the flexibility to just kind of take the players that play in me and kind of move them around to say, hey, this is where I think you fit, this is where and so it used to be all on me to kind of make our divisions as appropriate as possible, where we split the skill levels. Now, I've got data on everybody.
Well, the best way to know if you show up to a board to play and your opponent is wearing a cornhole like team shirt, don't play them.
Don't play.
They're in the wrong spot.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they have jerseys. They're sponsored.
They've got a pouch to hold their.
That's how you know.
So I can usually get 5 of 5 in.
No, you only throw 4.
Yeah, but that's in a whole match. So if I threw 100, I would get 5.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like probably below basic, right?
Well, it depends on who you're playing because you are competing and they're throwing at the same time. So there's a lot to it, but it's really fun. And even if you're not good, it can still be really fun.
I need to come out.
We
This
try.
would be interesting.
Definitely fun.
Come on. We actually we're finishing our summer season this week, but we've been really fortunate to build a relationship with the guys out at Big League Dreams. That's become kind of the home of C4C. We try to be out there every Tuesday night. We try to run at least a tournament once a month on Saturdays. Just keeping people playing. I mean, that's, as it's grown, right? We used to play in bars, right? We used to play for 5 seasons. We played at Fat Daddy's here in Mansfield. It was a great place for us. I could run 5 sets of boards there. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome when you had 20 teams. We run 24 sets of boards at league night now to support our 60 teams that play with us. And so, I mean, it takes space, right? It's not something that you can just, every set of boards needs a 40 or a 40 by 8 footprint, right? And so you need that kind of space. So finding a venue like BLD that allows us to keep our stuff there, use the building,
Sells beer. That's important.
That's a
or if
key.
you want people to show up.
That's a key, yeah.
But they use the indoor soccer, so that's nice too. You're not worried about weather. You don't have to worry about heat. You don't have to.
Good.
So that's
Yep.
nice too.
Yeah.
So these weekly games that you have, do people just pay like a cover to pay or to play, and then you just accumulate
That's
that
right.
and then donate it at the end?
So we wouldn't attract people if we weren't paying out, right? This is that's an expectation that comes with it, and everybody kind of sets their standards for payouts differently. Given the nature of C4C and who we are, every time that we come out there, C4C gets a cut. For example, for league night, we typically will take the fees, registration fees, and then right off the top, C4C takes 25% of that for our charity and the goals that what we're trying to do, and then we will pay out the remaining 75% to the players, based on how they perform and do that. One of the things about our strategy for payouts is that again, this relates back to addressing our crowd, our folks, the people that call C4C kind of their home group and the supporters and partners of us. Nobody comes to play in a C4C tournament to get rich. And that's very intentional by me. We typically will take whatever your registration fee is. I'm typically looking at, hey, you're gonna make 6 to 10 times what you paid in. That's where we start at the top, right? I'm taking about 25% of the teams. That's how many we're gonna pay. Right, and I know that at the bottom, whoever finishes at the bottom, so you take those 25% of the teams, and if there's 24 teams, we're going to pay 6 places. That means the people at the bottom, you're going to get your money back. People at the top, you're going to make 6 to 8 to 10 times, and then we fill in the gaps in between. And it's a struggle that we have to fight sometimes because there are folks that won't necessarily play with us because it's not worth the drive to go to Mansfield and go play because we're not going to get paid enough. And I'm like,
But you're gonna have fun.
Yeah. But I think that keeps your crowd good and honest too.
I think so,
right.
I think
Keeps the
that's-
right crowd there.
Yeah.
For
what we're trying to do,
Yeah.
that, like I said, they're the good players, the really good players that are making a lot of money going around these tournaments and playing tournaments and getting paid.
Well, and I will say too, and this is a shout out to Joel. Joel will stand at the table when people are getting paid out and he says, you should just donate that. And so a lot of money just goes
That's
back.
great.
So I don't know if you've asked him to do that, but it works. He got my $20 back one day. The one time I won. I think we won by default. I think everybody left thinking it was over, and me and Matt were still there, and me and Matt won some money. So
And then we took your money back.
yeah,
Yeah.
I gave
Is
it
this
back.
Matt Smith?
Yes. We won't talk about that on air.
Okay.
Matt, we know you're listening. Biggest fan. Shout out.
Matt, he is a good fan. We had fun together. I will say that.
Who's the better thrower, Matt or you?
Well, you can look at the stats on Scoreboard.
Don't let Sarah kid you. She's come a long way. I mean,
I have made some progress a little bit.
you know, and that's the thing about cornhole. It's not a hard game, right? Like, and the more that you're around people that know how to throw, and you can kind of, and if you're willing to watch a little bit and pick up a little bit of things that that separate, just chucking a bag to really throwing intentionally, the people that make the biggest jumps at league night are the people that come into that basic division, don't really know what they're doing, but have kind of a desire to get better. By week 8 of league night, like, they're throwing well. And, and it's just, if you dedicate, every Tuesday night you're going to be throwing. I mean, that kind of repetition, it helps.
Well, and having a competitive husband, especially if he's on your team, like that will do it.
So do you have your own jersey now?
No, I do not.
You don't have a C4C shirt?
I have like a T-shirt. but I don't have like a official jersey.
You don't
I
have
think
like
I've earned that yet.
You haven't earned that.
I think my PPR is too low.
Well,
that sounds dirty.
Speaking of peepees,
Yes.
we're gonna go on to Tales from the Lockbox.
Tales from the Lockbox. Well, I've got this little Johnny story.
And we're worried about it.
Oh, you shouldn't be worried about my little Johnny stories.
We couldn't screen the story. You didn't put it down.
Yeah, I didn't put it down for them to screen on purpose. So here we go. Little Johnny, he was in this first grade class, and he went up to his teacher and he said, I'm smarter than the people in third grade. I'm smarter than my sister, and I'm too smart for this class. So the teacher took him to the principal's office and explained the situation to the principal, and the principal told her he's going to give Johnny a test, and if he failed to answer one question, he'd have to go back to first grade and he'd be quiet. Both the teacher and Johnny agreed. So here we go. We're on the questions. The principal goes, you ready for this?
No.
What is 3 times 3? And Johnny says 9. Principal goes 6 times 6, and Johnny says 36. And so it went on like this. And the principal asked him every question a third grader should know. And finally, after about an hour, he told the teacher, I see no reason why Johnny can't go to the third grade. He answered all of my questions right. The teacher says, is it okay if I ask Johnny some questions? The principal and Johnny agree. The teacher says, Johnny, what does a cow have 4 of that I only have 2 of? Johnny says, legs. Teacher says, what do you have in your pants that I don't?
This is a dirty teacher.
This is really weird.
The principal gasps, but before he can stop him from answering, Johnny says, pockets. Then the teacher says, what does a dog do that a man steps into? And Johnny says, pants. Teacher says, I have one more question.
Oh.
What starts with F and ends with K and means a lot of excitement? And Johnny says, fire truck. The principal breathes a big sigh of relief, just like Sarah and Jaisy just did, and says, put Johnny in the 5th grade. I got the last 4 questions wrong myself.
I like the what does a man step into that a dog does?
I know, I didn't get it at
That's like a
first.
riddle. That's nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
How do you
Okay,
follow
that
that?
wasn't so-
You guys got tales like that too?
No.
Do you have any crazy stories? It could be in anything in life.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, so growing up in Ohio, I played basketball. I was a decent student, and I used to be able to tell people all the time that the reason that I played basketball in high school and was playing as a sophomore, whatever, is because my mom was sleeping with the athletic director.
Was there any truth in that?
Was the athletic director your dad?
It helped me progress in my career, and the athletic director happened to be my dad. I also had the highest grade in typing because my dad was sleeping with the typing teacher.
Oh, perfect.
That's
You
awesome.
had so many connections.
Who happened to be my mom. So yeah, lots of stories of being with both my parents teaching and administrators at the school
You
that
had
I
to
grew
be on
up
your
with.
best behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah, or just know when I could get away with not, right?
Not getting caught up. Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, we are going to level up. Yes, Jaisy.
So in the honor of talking about caring for community and giving back, I've got a great quote from Jay Shetty. We're wired for generosity, but we're educated for greed. We all know within our hearts we'd rather help someone. Science shows it that people who give back and people who are generous are genuinely just more happy. So I just think if we could extend ourselves just a little bit, it could make such a huge impact. So if you are able to, support your community, support someone that's in need, come and play for C4C, have some fun, donate your money at the end of the night.
Yes.
And I think it could really end up helping you more than it helps others.
And Jaisy will post, when she posts, she'll connect a Facebook group, all that kind of stuff, right? Okay.
Definitely.
Awesome.
All the links will be down below for how you can get involved, how you can play, and have a great time.
Awesome. Thank you all for joining us. Please like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. And PB and Jaisy, we out.
Just had a chat, talk this and that with PB and JC.